very good afternoon to all of you. Myself Tanugurum. Welcome you all in this 1-hour CBSE training session, and my topic is selection of effective teaching and learning material. So before beginning this session, I must say that you all remember your teachers who have taught us during our school days and college days. But what are the characteristics that differentiate them as good teachers and bad teachers? Because some teachers accept and use some effective material, or they taught us in a different way, or they make our class in an interesting way. So then we consider them as a good teacher. So in our first slide, there is a famous Chinese proverb. We must heard this famous Chinese proverb, which is, I hear, I forget, I see, I remember, I do, I understand. In my opinion, this is closely related with the education and is directly related to how people learn and understand things in the school and how we can utilize that for better education. In general, we can say, we remember 20% of what we hear. We remember 30% of what we see. We remember 50% of what we see and hear. And we remember 90% of what we say and do. So, in the next slide, we will first understand what is teaching learning material. Teachers can make their class really intriguing and more significant for the students by utilizing a few articles or materials to help their verbal depiction. Utilizing an enormous assortment of materials is found to improve better comprehension of ideas and for making learning seriously fascinating. So there are two words, teaching material and learning material. So teaching materials are the aids used by the facilitator to help him/her in facilitating his or her lesson effectively. Or we can say teaching materials are the physical resources that a teacher used to assist students in achieving the set learning outcomes. Whereas learning materials are the aids used by the learner to help him or her learn effectively. It means that learning materials are the aids used by the learners to help him or her learn effectively. Teaching materials are the things like textbooks, worksheet, blackboard, whiteboard, etc. Teaching and learning materials can be bought or made easily by both the facilitator or learner. And these materials can be big or small. But before explaining this, before defining the term again, I would like to explain a little bit on the two terms also, which is teaching learning material and teaching aid. There is a thin line of difference between teaching aids and teaching learning material, which is commonly used acronym. So, the difference lies in the fact that the TLM are usually a part of curriculum, and on the other hand, teaching aids make the learning smooth. We know teaching aids is a tool or technique that is used to support teaching, whereas teaching materials are the materials that have the actual target in lesson. Let me explain it with some example. If a test tube or a conical flask is used as suggested in the textbook, in our textbook, so it is an instructional material. Whereas if a teacher brings that apparatus while a discussion describing about laboratories equipments, so it becomes a teaching aid. So similarly, in this session, while we are using this projector or this digital board, so these are the teaching aids. okay? But while we deliver our lesson through textbooks, so these textbooks are recognized as teaching learning material. So in our next slide, we will discuss why do we need teaching learning material. So today, with the emphasis on learning student focused methodology, the students need an ever increasing number of materials to improve their ability to learn together or independently. So teaching learning material becomes fundamental to have a superior comprehension of the nature of the subject matter. So the first point is to make learning of new ideas was simpler. So I am going to describe you the purpose and importance of teaching learning material. So the first point is it makes lesson interesting, because everything is available in the book now, and nowadays so students will not pay attention unless and until we give them the same in a different way, and it also makes learning easier for them. The third point is it helps learning what has been learned to remain in the minds of the learner for a longer time. And the next point is it also helps the facilitator to deliver his or her lesson successfully and easy. That it also motivates the student to learn by arousing their interest in the subject. Next point is it also enables the facilitator to express intended concept of the learning effectively. And the last one is teaching learning materials are the things that and ideas which are usually familiar to the learners. So in our next slide, I will discuss why do we need teaching learning material. First one is it helps us to make learning of new ideas in a very simple way. Learning of new ideas becomes simpler if the student is given recognizable materials linked with the subject matter. And the second point is it also helps to increase creativity. Typically, little children are drawn to the objects of various tones and measures and show their interest in controlling these in different manners, which when fed continuously assist with fostering to play with an assortment of articles. These aids are helping upgrading their creativity. And the third point is for self-learning. These TLMs or teaching learning materials are required for comparing self-learning with the utilization of proper material. One can learn on their own with absolute power over their speed of learning. And the last one is to create cordial environment. It means that teacher turns amicable. Amicable here means very friendly in nature. A cordial environment is constructed which significantly help in learning. So, in my next slide, here I will discuss Edgar Dale's cones of experience, which is actually the progress of learning experiences. It starts from concrete level to the abstract level. So it is actually a visual model. It is having 10 stages starting from the concrete experiences at the bottom. Here it is having concrete model levels at the base, and it becomes and more abstract as it reaches the peak of the cone. Also, according to the Dale, the arrangement in the cone is not based on its difficulty but rather based on the abstract extraction and on the number of senses involved in the experience in each stages. It can be mixed and are interrelated that foster more meaningful learning. So there are different stages that we can see in the slides. Okay, so the dark blue color which denotes direct purposeful experiences. So in this level, they are the first-hand experiences which solves at the foundation of learning. So in this level, more senses are used in order to build up the knowledge. In this level, learning happens through actual hands-on experience. So we can say that through this level, direct participation will bring us in the outcome using all the senses of our body. So next is contrived experience. Contrived experiences, it means like using models, mock, editing the reality. So it is necessary when real experiences can be used or are too complicated. In the third, next level is dramatized experiences. Dramatized experiences, it means that these are the reconstructed experiences which can be used to simplify an event or idea to its most important part, and it is divided into two categories which are acting and observing. Our next level is demonstration. It means visualized explanation of an important fact, idea or process. It shows how certain things are done. In the next level, it is field trips. Field trips are example watching people do things in real situations or observing an event which are unavailable in our classroom situation. And the next level is exhibits. Exhibits are something seen by a spectator like our school exhibitions, art exhibitions, etc. Then the next level is motion picture, and it goes on from like audio recording photos, and the next level pictures, visual symbols, and the last one is text verbal symbol. Okay. So in the next slide, this slide is actually illustration of the previous terms in the percentage form. Okay. So it shows after 2 weeks we tend to remember 10% of what we read, 20% of what we hear. If we read a book, so after 2 weeks what will happen? We will remember 10% of what we read. We will hear 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, and 50% of what we see and hear, 70% of what we say, and 90% of what we say and do. So now in the next slide, teaching learning material. So this slide is basically showing TLMs all together. Okay. So in my left circle is showing teaching material, which includes pictures, posters, charts, objects, films, videos, PPT, print material, models, puppets, masks, cutouts, ICTs. And in the right circle, which is purple circle, so it is learning material, which includes worksheet, activity sheets, supplementary material, reference material, self-study units, games, classroom activity. But in the common, which is the common in teaching and learning material, includes textbooks, workbooks, labs and libraries, CDs and community resources. And it also includes teachers' skills. What are the teachers' skills? Visual drawing skill, communication skill, handwriting, photography, graphics, video recording. Okay, so now we will discuss different types of teaching learning material. So teaching learning materials has been classified into 3 major categories, which is audio teaching learning material, visual teaching learning material, and audio-visual teaching learning material. So audio teaching learning material, it stimulates the hearing sense of the learner. It includes teacher's voice. Okay, so now while I am delivering you this session, this lecture, so my voice is a teaching learning material for you all. So next one is telephonic conversation, audio disc, tape recorder, and radio broadcast. Now we will discuss visual teaching learning material. Visual teaching learning material involves the sense of vision. They stimulate the visual impulses. Okay. This can be of various types as given. blackboard, textbooks, picture card, chart, model, graph, or we can say magazine or newspaper, it can also include. Okay. Now, audio visual teaching learning material. So, audio visual teaching learning material are the projected aids which use both auditory and visual sense of to enhance learning. The greatest advantage of these is they are the closest representation of reality. These includes television, video recording, motion pictures and films. So now in the next slide, here there are different types of TLM, only terms are have been changed. So teaching learning material can be categorized as projected aids, non-projected aids, activity aids also, but more or less everything is same. Now we will discuss criteria in selecting teaching learning materials. We should consider some important criteria. So the first point is it should support the goals and objectives of the curriculum offering in which the materials will be used. It means that for whom the materials are selected, it should present a variety of objects. It should achieve the goals and objectives that the teacher has set for the learners. Next point is it should be appreciated for the age, ability level of the students. Second point is it should be diverse with respect to levels of difficulty. Fourth one is it should meet high standards of quality. Next point is it should have aesthetic, cultural literacy of social values. Next point, it should also foster respect. And while teaching learning material should be designed to motivate the students. Last point is it should encourage students to utilize higher order thinking skills. Now, in the last slide, I will discuss what are the key factors which we should consider before by selecting the teaching learning material. We should take into consideration individual needs and learning style of the learners. We should make sure that the material support learning